In a small, sun-soaked village nestled between the Baobab trees and the shimmering banks of the River Nilo, there lived a girl named Amara. From a young age, her brilliance was evident to all who knew her. Her dark eyes sparkled with curiosity, and her laughter resonated like the wind chimes that adorned the elders' huts. Amara was a daughter of the soil, born into a lineage of farmers, but she dreamed beyond the fields and the rhythms of the planting seasons. Amara's village, Beal, prided itself on its communal spirit and its traditions. Education was seen as a luxury especially for girls. Yet, when the newly built school opened its doors, Amara's parents, Nia and Kofi, made a bold decision. They sold a portion of their harvest to buy Amara her first slate and chalk. "The stars guide those who dare to seek them," her father told her. "You, my daughter, will touch the heavens." The school was a modest building with walls made of red clay and a roof of corrugated iron that creaked under the sun's relentless gaze. Yet it became a temple of knowledge for Amara. She devoured every lesson, from mathematics to history, her hand often the first to rise with answers that left even her teacher, Mr. Okoro, amazed. "This child is destined for greatness," he would say, his voice tinged with both pride and foreboding. However, in a community deeply rooted in tradition, Amara's brilliance was both celebrated and resented. While some admired her achievements, others whispered that she was too bold, too ambitious. "A girl should know her place," muttered the village's elders during their evening gatherings. The old ways dictated that women's roles were confined to the home and the hearth. Amara's ascent into the realm of scholars threatened to upend this balance. Amara's reputation spread beyond Mbil. By the time she reached her 12th year, she had won a regional science competition, designing a water filtration system that could provide clean drinking water for the village. The prize money brought her family prosperity, but it also deepened the resentment among those who saw her achievements as a challenge to the natural order. Chief Duro, a stern and imposing figure, ruled Mbil with an iron hand. He was a man of tradition, and his authority had seldom been questioned. Yet, Amara's growing influence among the youth unsettled him. They spoke of her as a leader, someone who inspired them to dream beyond the confines of the village. "This girl," Chief Duro declared during a council meeting, "must be reminded of her place." His words sowed the seeds of division. Some, like Mr. Okoro and Amara's parents, stood by her, while others began to conspire against her. One fateful evening, Amara's life took a dark turn. She had just returned from school, her satchel heavy with books and dreams, when a group of villagers approached her home. At their forefront was Chief Duro, his face shadowed by the flickering light of their torches. "Amara," he said, his voice cold, "your ambitions bring shame to our traditions. You seek to rise above your station, and this will not be tolerated." Amara stood her ground, her heart pounding but her voice steady. "Knowledge is not a crime," she said. "It is the light that guides us out of darkness." Her defiance only fueled the mob's anger. That night, under the canopy of stars that had once inspired her dreams, Amara was dragged from her home. Her parents' cries echoed through the village, but no one dared intervene. Amara's brilliance had become her curse. The next morning, the village awoke to a chilling silence. Amara's lifeless body lay by the riverbank, her slate and chalk shattered beside her. The villagers' faces were a mix of guilt and fear as they gathered around her, realizing the gravity of their actions. The girl who had dreamed of touching the heavens had been silenced forever. Yet, Amara's story did not end with her death. Her martyrdom sparked a wave of change. Mr. Okoro, devastated by her loss, took it upon himself to ensure that her legacy lived on. He wrote letters to regional authorities, bringing attention to the tragedy. Journalists and human rights activists descended upon Mbil, turning the small village into a symbol of the fight for education and equality. Amara's parents, though heartbroken, became vocal advocates for girls' education. They established the Amara Foundation, using the prize money from her science competition to fund scholarships for girls across the region. The foundation's emblem bore the image of a slate and chalk, a tribute to the tools that had ignited Amara's brilliance. Over time, the villagers of Mbil began to see the error of their ways. The children, inspired by Amara's courage, embraced education with renewed vigor. Even Chief Duro, once a staunch defender of tradition, stepped down, replaced by a younger leader who championed progress. Amara's story became a legend, told and retold around fires and in classrooms. She was remembered not for how she died but for how she lived, with courage, intelligence, and an unyielding belief in the power of knowledge. The girl who was killed for being brilliant became a beacon of hope, proving that even in the face of darkness, the light of learning could never be extinguished. Years passed, and the story of Amara's sacrifice reached beyond the borders of Mbil. In nearby towns and far-off cities, her name became synonymous with resilience and progress. Schools were renamed in her honor, and her story was included in textbooks to inspire generations of young learners. At the heart of her village, a statue was erected in her memory. It depicted a young girl holding a slate in one hand and a lantern in the other, symbolizing the light of knowledge she had so valiantly protected. The inscription at its base read, "To Amara, who taught us that dreams cannot be silenced." The Amara Foundation grew, expanding its reach to neighboring countries. It provided not only scholarships but also resources to build libraries and train teachers. Each library bore her name, ensuring that her spirit lived on in every book that was opened and every lesson that was taught. One of the most profound changes was in the mindset of the people. The tragedy of Amara's death forced a reckoning with long-held beliefs and traditions. Villagers began to question practices that hindered progress and perpetuated inequality. Women's voices, once stifled, grew louder and more assertive. Mothers encouraged their daughters to pursue education, and fathers, inspired by Kofi's courage, became allies in this fight for change. Amara's younger siblings, inspired by her memory, also pursued education with fervor. Her brother Kwame became a doctor, dedicating his career to improving healthcare in rural areas, while her sister Esi followed in her footsteps, becoming a teacher who nurtured the dreams of other brilliant minds. A turning point. As Mbil transformed, so did Chief Duro. Haunted by guilt, he spent his remaining years working to undo the harm he had caused. He supported the foundation and personally funded the construction of a community center where villagers could gather to learn new skills and discuss ways to improve their lives. In his later years, he often visited Amara's grave, leaving flowers and speaking to the wind, seeking forgiveness. The regional government also took notice of Mbile's transformation. Officials implemented policies to make education more accessible and worked to protect the rights of children, especially girls. Amara's name became a rallying cry for advocates of education reform, and her story was shared at international conferences on human rights and development. Dreams rekindled. One day, years after Amara's passing, a young girl named Zuri stood in the very spot where Amara had once dreamed of touching the heavens. With a slate in her hand and hope in her eyes, Zuri looked up at the statue of Amara. "I want to be like her," Zuri told her mother. "You can," her mother replied, her voice filled with conviction. "You already are." As the sun set over Mbil, casting golden hues over the fields and the river, it was clear that Amara's light had not been extinguished. It burned brightly in the hearts of all who dared to dream, ensuring that her legacy would endure for generations to come. The unyielding flame. Amara's story continued to inspire. Among the many lives touched by her legacy was a young journalist named Nia Mwangi. Intrigued by the tale, Nia traveled to Mbil to document the transformation of the village and its people. Her article, published in an international magazine, garnered widespread attention. The world learned of the girl who had dared to defy traditions, and her name became a symbol of hope for marginalized communities globally. The Amara Foundation received donations from philanthropists and organizations moved by Nia's article. With this influx of support, the foundation expanded its programs. Mobile learning units equipped with solar-powered technology were dispatched to remote areas, ensuring education reached even the most isolated children. Each unit bore Amara's name, a testament to her enduring influence. In Mbil, the villagers embraced a new tradition. Every year, on the anniversary of Amara's passing, they held a festival celebrating knowledge and progress. Children performed plays reenacting her life, and scholars gave lectures under the Baobab trees where Amara once played. The festival drew visitors from far and wide, turning Mbil into a hub of cultural and intellectual exchange. Chief Duro's successor, a progressive leader named Adissa, took further steps to cement Amara's legacy. Under her leadership, a state-of-the-art school was built in Mbil, equipped with modern facilities and staffed by passionate educators. The school, named Amara's Academy, became a beacon for excellence in education and innovation. Among its first graduates was Zuri, the young girl who had once stood before Amara's statue with dreams in her heart. Zuri excelled in her studies, eventually earning a scholarship to a prestigious university abroad. When she returned to Mbil, it was as a leader ready to carry forward Amara's vision. She joined the Amara Foundation, spearheading initiatives to empower young girls through education and mentorship. A global movement. Amara's story sparked a global movement. Conferences, documentaries, and campaigns highlighted her life and the lessons it imparted. Activists invoked her name in their fight for equality, and governments drew inspiration from Mbila's transformation to implement policies promoting gender equity and education. In her homeland, Amara's siblings continued to honor her memory. Kwame established clinics in underserved areas, ensuring access to healthcare for those in need. Isai wrote a memoir, sharing their family's journey and Amara's impact on their lives. The book became a bestseller, its proceeds fueling the foundation's work. As the years passed, Amara's light grew ever brighter. Her slate and chalk, once shattered by ignorance, became symbols of resilience and the unyielding power of dreams. And in the hearts of those who dared to defy the odds, her legacy lived on, proving that a single life, though fleeting, could change the world. The next chapter. Decades after Amara's passing, her legacy had become immortalized in history. A global summit on education and equality was named in her honor, and its opening ceremony featured a tribute to her life and the movement she had inspired. Leaders from around the world shared how her story had influenced their policies and personal beliefs. In Mbila, the Amara Research Institute was founded, focusing on innovative solutions for rural development. Scientists and scholars from diverse backgrounds worked together to address challenges like access to clean water, sustainable farming, and renewable energy. Every breakthrough was dedicated to Amara's memory, ensuring that her dream of uplifting her community continued to guide their efforts. The institute became a magnet for young talents, attracting individuals inspired by Amara's courage and vision. Among them was a young inventor named Tay, who created a solar-powered irrigation system that revolutionized farming in the region. His invention not only increased crop yields but also provided villagers with more time to pursue education and other endeavors. A universal symbol. Amara's story transcended borders, becoming a universal symbol of the power of education and the courage to challenge societal norms. Artists painted murals depicting her journey, musicians composed songs celebrating her spirit, and writers penned novels inspired by her life. In every corner of the world, Amara's name evoked a sense of hope and determination. Back in Mbila, the villagers continued to honor her legacy through their actions. The fields where her family once toiled now flourished with diverse crops, thanks to the innovative techniques introduced by the Institute. The riverbank where her life had tragically ended had been transformed into a serene garden, a place of reflection and remembrance. Amara's parents, though aged, found solace in the knowledge that their daughter's dreams had not been in vain. They often sat in the garden, sharing stories of her childhood with visitors who came to pay their respects. Their voices, filled with pride and sorrow, reminded everyone that Amara's light had not dimmed but had instead illuminated the path for countless others. As the world continued to evolve, Amara's legacy remained a guiding star. Her story was a testament to the enduring power of knowledge, the importance of equality, and the resilience of the human spirit. Through the lives she touched and the changes she inspired, Amara proved that even in the face of adversity, dreams could soar beyond the heavens. The years following Amara's passing saw Mbila transform into a hub of progress and innovation. The Amara Academy became renowned for nurturing talent, and its students excelled in various fields. Among the school's alumni was Ao, a brilliant young scientist who spearheaded research into renewable energy. Inspired by Amara's story, Ao developed solar-powered devices that provided electricity to villages across the region, ensuring that no child would study in darkness again. The annual Amara Festival became a cornerstone of Mbila's identity. It drew visitors from far and wide, eager to witness the celebrations of knowledge and progress. The festival showcased art, music, and lectures, all inspired by Amara's legacy. Among the attendees was Maya, a young artist whose mural depicting Amara's life won widespread acclaim. Her work became a symbol of hope and resilience, adorning schools and community centers across the continent. Amara's siblings continued to champion her vision. Kwame expanded his healthcare initiatives, establishing mobile clinics that reached the most remote villages. His work reduced mortality rates and improved the quality of life for countless families. Isai, meanwhile, authored children's books that taught the values of courage, equality, and the pursuit of knowledge. Her stories, inspired by Amara's life, became staples in classrooms, instilling a sense of purpose in young minds. The Amara Foundation launched mentorship programs, connecting young girls with role models in various professions. These mentors, many of whom had been inspired by Amara's story, guided the next generation of leaders. Among the ments was Lila, a determined young woman who became the first female mayor of a neighboring town. Lila credited her success to the lessons she learned from Amara's legacy, pledging to carry her torch forward. Amara's impact extended far beyond Mbila. The United Nations recognized her story as a symbol of the global fight for education and equality. A documentary chronicling her life and the transformation of Mbille won international awards, bringing her message to a worldwide audience. The documentary's director, Zara, traveled to Mbille to meet Amara's family and community, capturing their resilience and growth. Zara's work inspired a wave of support for the Amara Foundation. Philanthropists and organizations pledged resources. The transformation of Mbille culminated in the inauguration of the Monument of Dreams, a sprawling campus combining education, research, and community development. Located near the serene garden by the riverbank, the campus was designed to reflect Amara's journey. It included a library, a research lab, and a community center. At the heart of the monument was the Eternal Lantern, a golden structure symbolizing the light of knowledge. Inscribed around its base were Amara's words, "Knowledge is not a crime, it is the light that guides us out of darkness." The campus hosted international conferences, making Mbille a meeting place for minds determined to address global challenges. Scholars and innovators collaborated on sustainable farming, clean energy, and education access. These projects carried Amara's spirit across continents. Among the many lives Amara touched was a shy but curious girl named Saad. Growing up in Mbille, she often visited Amara's statue, seeking inspiration. Saad dreamed of becoming a space scientist, envisioning a future where African innovations reached the stars. Supported by scholarships from the Amara Foundation, Saad excelled academically and eventually gained admission to a prestigious international university. She returned to Mbille years later, equipped with expertise and a vision. As the head of the Stellar Horizons project, she pioneered Africa's first satellite dedicated to climate monitoring, addressing challenges like droughts and floods. The villagers of Mbille watched Saada's launch on a giant screen erected in the village square. Cheers and tears filled the air as the rocket ascended, carrying a payload of hope and resilience. Chief Adissa, now older and wiser, initiated discussions on the balance between tradition and progress. Drawing from the painful history of Amara's demise, she encouraged the elders to redefine customs that had hindered growth. Under her guidance, the Council of Harmony was formed, blending traditional wisdom with modern ideals. The Council's initiatives fostered inclusivity, ensuring that no voice, young or old, was left unheard. As a result, women and youth gained significant roles in decision-making, shaping Mbille into a model village for governance. The Amara Foundation expanded into the global Amara Network, uniting schools, nonprofits, and governments. The network's flagship initiative, Bright Futures, aimed to ensure education for marginalized children worldwide. Delegates from across the globe visited Mbille to learn from its journey. Conferences emphasized the importance of courage in challenging systemic inequalities and the need to preserve cultural heritage while embracing progress. On what would have been Amara's 50th birthday, a global telecast featured the unveiling of her hologram, a digital recreation designed to inspire future generations. Her message, crafted from her writings and memories shared by those who knew her, struck a universal chord. Do not fear the darkness, carry the lantern of knowledge. Let it light your way and others' paths too. Millions watched as the hologram stood alongside Zuri, Saad, and other changemakers shaped by Amara's legacy. Together they renewed the pledge to champion education, equality, and justice. This universal message, though born from tragedy, had evolved into a powerful movement, proving that Amara's brilliance could never be extinguished.